Welcome to the Cakewalk Z3TA+2 sound design tutorial. My name is Tim Swartz of Digital Sound Factory, and I'm going to show examples of how to create your own programs using this very unique software synthesizer. We will begin by creating a basic program to understand the features of the Z3TA+2. We'll start by selecting Program, Initialize. This will set all the parameters to their default positions. At any given time, if we lose track of signal flow, we can select the Cakewalk icon and it will show us a diagram. Mappable control parameters can control up to 6 voices that are then sent through routable effects. 6 voices can be located in this panel. Modulation sources for envelopes and Lfos are then sent through 2 filters. The second page contains the effects routing. To begin creating our program, we first need to select a waveform. There's multiple waveforms available. Plus, you can even create your own. We'll talk more about that later. To begin, we're going to start using a Saw vintage wave. Each voice includes transpose, octave, mode, and group. Transpose allows for transposition by semitone. Octave, transposition by octave. Mode is whether the waveform is in sync, inverted, free running, or multi-sync allows for phase oscillation. Group is whether the voice is a voice by itself or is used as a modulation for the next voice. A key feature of the Z3TA+2 is the ability to shape waveforms. Located next to the waveform, there's a list of shapers. To reset back to default, right-click, Reset All Shapers, Yes. We can send the waveform through Filter 1, Filter 2, or a combination of the two. There are many filters available. We'll start with a 24 dB low-pass filter for Filter 1 and a 12 dB bandpass filter for Filter 2. Now when we move the knob to Filter 1, and Filter 2, or bandpass, or a combination of the two. We can also run the 2 filters together in dual mode. The modulation matrix is a very important part of this synthesizer. It consists of the source, which would be an LFO, envelope generator, oscillators, keyboard velocity, the range of the source, which can be controlled with a left click, or the bottom range with the right click, the type of curve, any additional controllers, mod wheel, channel aftertouch, any MIDI CCs, and the destination. What is the source controlling? Oscillators, LFOs, pan, distortion, delays. We're going to use the modulation matrix to make our saw wave a bit more expressive. We'll select keyboard velocity as the source and give it a full range. We'll give it a linear curve, so as we play harder it will get louder. The destination will be oscillators, all oscillators, level. Now as we play harder, the sound will get louder. We're going to do a similar thing with the filter. We're going to put keyboard velocity, full range, linear curve, and we're going to assign filters, all filters, cutoff. Next thing we're going to do is close the filter. As we increase the velocity on the keyboard, the filter will now open. As we play harder, the filter opens and the amplitude gets greater. We're going to continue adding modulators to make this voice more expressive. Many times the modulation wheel and channel aftertouch are used to control the vibrato of the sound. This is accomplished by taking a low-frequency oscillator and running it into the oscillator's pitch. We'll select a sine wave. We can control its speed through the slider, or we can sync it to MIDI clock. Our source will be LFO1. We'll give it an amount, curve, assign it to the modulation wheel, and then we'll say oscillators, all oscillators, and pitch. So now when we move the modulation wheel, we get vibrato. We can control the depth and the amount to make it more subtle. We can also assign that to aftertouch by using the same LFO, an amount, a curve, channel aftertouch, oscillators, all oscillators, and pitch. So now when we dig into the keyboard, we get vibrato. The Perform tab contains the XY real-time controller. This can be controlled with your mouse or a joystick, and can be assigned to any destination. The Modulation Matrix will assign XY pad X and XY pad Y. Give them amounts. In this case, we'll send them to a wave shaper. So now when we move the XY pad, we can shape the sound in real time. The envelope generator consists of 8 envelopes used to control the 6 voices. Envelopes are used for things like amplitude, filter, pitch, and various other modulations. Each envelope consists of a delay, attack, decay time and level, sustain time and level, and release. Each portion of the envelope curve can be changed. The amount of envelope can be adjusted by the slider. We're going to give our amplitude envelope a little bit slower attack and a long release. We'll give it a sustain time that it will hold. Slightly change the curves. Due to the long release, we're running out of voices. You can come to the polyphony button and we'll select 32. I'm going to change velocity to filter modulation to envelope generator 1. Enable envelope generator 1 by sliding the amount controller. Give it a decay time, a level, and some release. Close the filter. Little resonance. So now we have a filter envelope. We're currently only using one of our 6 voices. We're going to make this sound a bit fatter. We'll detune it slightly, go to the second voice, Add the same saw wave and detune it the opposite direction. Now we have two voices slightly out of tune. We can also select Midi Sink and give it a spread. And this will cause the waveforms to phase, making an even fatter sound. Under Perform, there's a control called Drift, which will allow them to drift out of tune also. Now that we have a basic instrument, we're going to add some effects. We'll go to the Effects page. The effects can be arranged in any order. Simply drag and release. As we add effects, the sound will have a tendency to become louder. So what we'll do is we'll enable the soft limiter. This will prevent the synthesizer from clipping. The modulation effect contains the chorus, flangers, and phasers. We've created a chorus effect by detuning our two voices. So we'll use stereo flanger. We can sync this to MIDI clock, control its EQ, and other parameters. There are several types of delay, plus you can have 3 of them simultaneously. We'll select one, stereo delay. We'll sync it to our MIDI clock. Next, we'll add a little bit of reverb, EQ, so you can see how the effects have totally sculpted our sound into something new. We can add an arpeggiation or arpeggiation MIDI file by selecting the ARP tab. Here you'll find many files available, plus you can load your own. We'll just go with the basic up. We'll sync it to MIDI clock, give it 3 octaves, and we'll make the mode sync because we want it to play when we hit the keyboard. We'll enable some velocity amount and some length. Just gives your sound yet another dimension. Now that we've completed a basic program, we want to save it. We can select Program, Save As, give it a name, and save. We can also load programs using this menu. Now we're going to apply what we learned in the first section and get a bit more advanced. This is going to take Z3TA+2 to a whole new level. We'll begin by selecting Program, Initialize. This will set all the parameters back to the null position. As you design a new program, it's a good idea to understand where you want to end up. In this case, we're going to create an atmospheric style pad with Lfos and real-time controls. We'll turn on the limiter and increase the polyphony to 32 voices. Next, we'll select a waveform. In this case, we're going to use a user waveform. User waveforms can be located in the Cakewalk Content Z3TA+2 folder under Wavetables. We'll select an ARP square wave. Now we'll add 2 filters. We'll add a 24 dB low-pass filter, and we'll add a format filter. We can select between the two using the slider. We'll adjust the amplitude envelope generator for a slow attack. And a slightly longer release. Next, we're going to use the Modulation Matrix to set up a filter envelope. We use Envelope Generator 1, give it a full range, and a curve. And we'll assign this to Filters, Filter 1, Cutoff. We'll lower the filter cutoff amount, increase the resonance a little bit. Go to Envelope Generator 1, give it a slight attack, slightly long decay, and then we want this to plateau and have a long release. We'll use LFO1 to give our waveform some motion. We'll select LFO1, give it a range, select Oscillators, Oscillator 1, Wave Shaper, and we'll assign this to multi-point. Next, we'll select Oscillator 1, give it a shape, use a sine wave. So now, LFO1 is controlling the shape or multi-point. We use an envelope generator to control the speed of the LFO. So we'll use Envelope Generator 2, give it an amount, and we'll assign that to LFO 1 speed. Now we'll go to Envelope 2. We'll give it a slight attack, decay, maybe a release. So now, as you can see, our envelope is controlling the speed. Now that we have the effect, we'll lower the depth a bit. Making it a bit more subtle. We'll assign multiple wave shapers to the modulation wheel. We'll select On, Range, Curve that will work best with the modulation wheel. We'll select Modulation Wheel, and then we'll select Oscillators, Oscillator 1, Wave Shaper, Fold. We'll add a few more wave shapers to the mod wheel. We'll select On, give them ranges, curves, assign to modulation wheel. Oscillator 1, Wave Shaper. We'll select Spectrum, and Oscillators, Oscillator 1. We'll select Self-Sync. So now when we move the modulation wheel, we have multiple shapers simultaneously. We're going to add another layer to this sound. We'll select Voice 2 and choose Vintage Saw Wave 4. We're going to make that a multi-sync and give it a little bit of spread. Now we can audition between the two instruments by selecting Control and Click. So we'll turn this voice off. Here's our first voice. And here's our newly selected voice. We'll transpose Voice 2 up one octave to match Voice 1. And we'll go to Voice 1 and bring down the level a bit so it's not too loud. And we're going to bring down the amount of filter envelope just a little bit. Bring it open just a little more. Now we'll finish this pad by adding some effects. We'll start with a stereo chorus. Give it some EQ. Add a stereo delay. Delay we're going to sync to MIDI clock. Also some EQ. And some reverb. Use a small room. EQ that. And let's set up a wide EQ. And we'll put the chorus at the end. We'll put the reverb at the beginning. I think that looks pretty good. So there we have a pad that has some motion with it. For the next example, we're going to create a synthesizer bass. We're going to use filter cutoff and resonance in a filter envelope to give it some motion along with wave shaping. Beginning with the initialized preset, we'll select the limiter and we'll select two waveforms. We'll select a saw wave, and on voice 2, we'll select a triangle wave. Next, we'll select two filters. We'll use a 36 dB low-pass filter. It'll give us a steeper roll-off. We'll select the Reso 2 bandpass filter as our second filter. To make this bass a bit lower, we're going to transpose both voices down one octave. And on voice 1, we're going to make it multi-sync and give it some spread. And give us a slightly larger sound. Next, we'll adjust the envelope. Right now, we have full sustain. So we'll lower all the levels so we get no sound. And increase the decay. Give it a slight curve. Lower the release. So now our sound dies away over time. Now we'll set up two LFOs. One will be for our pitch modulation. We'll sync it to MIDI clock. And the second one we're going to use as a wave shaper. We'll make that a triangle. There's a multitude of waveforms that can be used for LFOs. They can be combined in various ways. And we'll sync this to MIDI clock also. We'll assign LFO 1 an amount, a curve, to the modulation wheel to control the amount of vibrato, oscillators, all oscillators, and pitch. A little bit much, so we'll back it off. We'll also go to LFO 1 and bring down the depth a bit. LFO 2, give it an amount and a curve. We're going to assign this to channel aftertouch, and we're going to have it shape the wave. Next, we're going to make LFO 2 a basic sine wave, and we're going to slow it down. So as you apply pressure, you bring in the LFO. When we play a note, it's full on velocity. So what we want to do is set up the keyboard velocity, full amount, the curve, and we'll go oscillators, all oscillators, level. So now we have velocity control with the keyboard. We'll add a filter envelope by using envelope generator 1. And we'll assign this to filters, all filters, cutoff. And we'll bring down the cutoff amounts, both filters. Add a little bit of resonance to it. A little bit much. A little too fast, maybe. And we can create a plateau here if we want the resonance to hang on. Now you can see our levels are a little bit low, and our volumes are pretty well set on our voices. So a little trick here, we can use one of the curves to increase the level. We'll just use pitch 4 octaves. It's a pretty flat curve, and we'll assign that to oscillators, all oscillators, level. Keep in mind that these are all additive. So as we add modulators, we're actually increasing gains. So that gives it a little extra boost. We will enable the XY pad as a wave shaper. X and Y. The mounts, and we'll select oscillators, all oscillators, wave shaper, self sync, and spectrum. Now at the Perform tab, when we move the XY shaper, we'll also select the portamento type, give it an amount. Now we'll add some effects. Give it a mono chorus, some EQ. We'll sync it to MIDI clock. Small delay. A little heavy on the bass side. And sync that to MIDI clock. Select a small room. Normally for a bass we wouldn't want a lot of effect, but this is purely for example. So we're going to give this a little bit of a tube effect by using the drive, the gain, and soften the tone. With a few modifications, we're going to change our bass into a lead sound. We'll move both voices up 2 octaves. And we'll close the filter a little bit more and lower the amount of the envelope. Give us a little bit more mellow of a tone. We'll complete our lead by making a few changes to the effects. We're going to change our stereo delay to left to right center delay. And some feedback. And we're going to remove our tube sound. In this next example, we're going to create a more complex program. This will allow us to explore the modulation matrix in a little bit more depth. We'll start off by assigning a waveform. And in this case, we're going to run it through a format filter. We'll use a sine wave for LFO1, and we'll sync it to MIDI clock. Next, we'll create LFO1 as a source, the curve, and we're going to send this to function 1. Functions are destinations that can be used as source, kind of like a patch cord to hook up several things to one modulation. So we'll assign this to a wave shaper. Function 1 is now LFO1, so we'll assign function 1 to filter 1. Next, we'll use envelope generator 1 to control our amplitude of this voice. So we'll go to oscillators, oscillator 1, level, envelope generator 1, and we're going to have this sound just fall away. And we'll move it up an octave. We'll add a second layer. Assign a filter. Our upper end's a bit muffled. I like to have that a little bit brighter. So what we'll do is we'll use the key scaling, upper and bottom notes available. We'll use upper note. And we'll assign this to filters, filter 2 cutoff. So now we can open up our upper end without affecting the low end. We'll use envelope generator 2 to create a slight pitch glide for voice 2. We'll select envelope generator 2, and we'll make our pitch slide quickly. Depending on which curve we use, we can slide up or down. Now we'll add some effects. Make sure our limiter's on. Lower the volume a little bit. The 6-voice chorus is really fat and nice sounding. A little bit of delay. In the next example program, we're going to create an Electronica style sound. We're going to make use of the modulators we've already discussed, and we're going to add a few more new ones. We begin by adding a waveform. We'll start with the square wave. Next, we'll add some filters. We'll adjust the amplitude envelope so the sound becomes more of a blip. Adjust the decay time. Now we'll enable LFO1. We're going to make this a square wave. And we'll set this to our external MIDI clock. We'll assign LFO1 to pan. Make that a little bit faster. So our square LFO is now panning left to right. We'll use envelope generator 1 as our filter envelope. We'll assign this to filters, all filters, cutoff. We'll adjust envelope generator 1, quick release, bring down the cutoff, bring up the resonance to get an effect. Turn on our limiter, bring down the volume. We're going to use the modulation wheel to control our effects amount. We'll assign this to delay. Select the linear curve. So as we move the mod wheel, we'll get more effect. And we'll assign this to delay level. Now we have to turn that effect on. Give it a MIDI clock. EQ. Feedback. Now when we move the mod wheel, now if we decide that we want a little bit of an effect and more effect on the mod wheel, we can right click and control the range of our effect. Now we'll assign an ARP pattern. There's a lot to choose from. We'll set up a Midi Sink. We can control the velocity and the length. We can change the effect sync, create more of a counter rhythm. Now we can shape our wave. Endless possibilities. As you can see from our example programs, Z3TA+2 has many features and offers numerous options for creating your own unique sounds. We hope this tutorial has been helpful, giving you the basic skills to program the Z3TA+2 synthesizer. At DigitalSoundFactory.com, we offer exciting Z3TA+2 expansion sound sets that will take your tracks beyond your imagination. At Digital Sound